All right. Back with another episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. I am Joseph Pavone, Sean Dutra. This is moments after the Celtics just lost to the Charlotte Hornets at Charlotte. 117-112. This one came down to the wire, Sean, of course. We both watched it. Kemba Walker, ridiculous
Beast
right
mode,
now.
Kemba.
One of the best scorers in the NBA. Hands
Most
down.
underrated player in the NBA.
Most underrated player in the NBA. I agree with that statement. I thought that even before he started going off the way he's been going off. The last 2 games, scoring over 100 points in 2 games combined. I mean, it's ridiculous. And of course, him and Kyrie Irving went at it, which is what we expected. I expected to see these two go at it, but I'm not crazy about the execution down the stretch where you just give the ball to Kyrie and have him go back and forth against Kemba Walker. I'm not crazy about it, Sean.
Yeah, me neither. I think there was a lot of questionable shots at the end of the game. I think a lot of questionable play calls. I didn't like the personnel at the end of the game. The whole game, though, seemed like the Celtics should have had it wrapped up. They should have been able to close out the Charlotte Hornets. Even though Kemba's on a streak right now where he's unstoppable, it's still, you're supposed to be the Boston Celtics. Like, this is not good, Sway. This is not good. Last week, I think we saw glimpses of what this team could be when they beat the Raptors, but you can't keep losing. You just lose every game. Like, it's not like they're going on like a 3-game winning streak and then losing.
No, they're winning one, losing one, winning one. What does that? What does that mean? What's that pattern? 500 team. They're looking like a 500 team.
They're on pace for 42 wins.
Pretty much. They're on pace. Yeah, that's accurate.
For 42 win team.
But Brad Stevens did switch up the starting lineup, though. I didn't think he would do it. I didn't think he had it in him. But I was happy he did because he benched Gordon Hayward. In my opinion, that was the guy who needed to sit back in the second unit, switch things up a bit. He did go big. I wanted him to go small and go with Marcus Smart. I don't hate it, though. Aaron Baines was effective. He didn't play a whole lot in this game. But in the third quarter, I did like the fact that he put Smart in, I don't know, like a minute and a half into it. Put Smart into that starting 5. Obviously, it wasn't the beginning of the first quarter, but you saw what that lineup can do. It freed up Smart for some good looks. He got a couple threes in there. It also freed up Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown found his offensive rhythm, but then he reverted back to what he's been doing all season long. Gordon Hayward with those starters. And how did that pay off for them? How did Gordon Hayward do with those starters? How did he do at the end of the fourth quarter with the Celtics trailing the Charlotte Hornets, when you need a lineup that can close out the Hornets, close out Kemba Walker's offensive explosion, he goes with Gordon Hayward again, and it doesn't pay off. I mean, I don't get it at this point. And I'm surprised that, I don't know, maybe I missed it because they don't always show the entire Brad Stevens press scrum, but I'm hoping someone asks him about that. I mean, Gordon Hayward, let's look at his stat line right now. Off the bench, he did clock in 31 points.
31 minutes.
Oh, excuse me. He did clock in 31 minutes.
I don't think we'd be having this discussion if he had 31 points.
4 points, 1 of 6 from the floor. I mean, like, what did he do to earn himself any playing time at the end of that fourth quarter? I mean, I get he got 8 rebounds, but aside from that, I mean, 4 assists. That's a solid secondary guy. That's a solid secondary stat line.
I don't like
That's not somebody that you have at the end of the games when you need offense and you need to counter what Kemba Walker was doing out there.
Like, I don't know why they feel the Celtics feel like they need to play Hayward right now. Like, you don't need to play him. He's obviously not there yet. Like, he doesn't. Hey, first off, it's not looking like he fits in that well on this team. Secondly, he's not 100%. So that's a double whammy against Hayward.
That's my biggest thing. If he's not 100%, you want to get him back with the second unit. I mean, you already gave him 15 games. It's not working out and it hasn't looked good, especially throughout the stretch, throughout the last. Pretty much the beginning of November, it's gotten worse than it was before.
You got to cut your losses.
Exactly.
Let him come back. Give minutes to other guys. Rozier hasn't been playing either. How many minutes will Rozier get tonight?
19. He got 19.
Okay.
It was a quiet 19. Yeah,
barely.
I figured he would have got like 13 or 14.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of things wrong with this team. I feel like we're just keep repeating the same stuff. I think, Hayward coming off the bench, Hayward taking a lesser role, getting more minutes for guys like Smart, Rozier, Morris is going to be key. And then, Kyrie had a good game, but at the end of the day, like, what? If Kyrie doesn't score 43 points, they're not going to win? Like,
they're a little too reliant on him down the stretch.
No, I think that he's relying on himself. He's not moving the ball at the end of games. There was a point in that game where he took just a shot 4 seconds into the shot clock and just jacked up a 3. Yeah, that was an awful shot.
You hated that shot. Yeah.
Awful shot. Like, move the ball around. Tatum was feeling it. Get the ball to Tatum. You have multiple weapons on the floor. At least pretend like you're going to give the ball to somebody else other than Kyrie at the end of the game.
And then out of a timeout, you know how Brad Stevens does. He's usually successful out of a timeout, offensive play, draws up a play for his team, wants to cut into the deficit, and he draws up a play for none other than Gordon Hayward. And look, I'm not trying to beat up on Gordon Hayward. I'm not saying that it's Hayward's fault, but it seems like Brad Stevens is just forcing him into these situations at the end of the fourth quarter where he's just not feeling it.
And what has he done to earn it?
Exactly.
He broke his leg. Like, is this a sympathy thing?
Well, no, I don't think it's that.
Is this like a, Gordon, we really feel bad you missed all of last season? Like,
maybe a little bit.
Give you some minutes.
Maybe
like,
a little bit, yeah.
No, get the fuck out of here. You gotta earn that shit. You gotta earn it. Like, and seems like Brad is going out of his way to make this player comfortable, which I get the history. I get, college. They, were suitors for him for a while. Came out last year. Obviously, we all know what happened, but still, like, whatever. It is what it is. Like, sometimes if the player's not the same player he was, you don't need to give him 30 minutes and, crunch time minutes every single time.
Yeah, I mean, this is what bugs me, man. Kyrie Irving, 34 minutes. Al Horford, 31 minutes. Gordon Hayward, 31 minutes and 4 points. I mean, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah,
what was he doing to earn himself that many minutes off the bench?
It's almost like they're trying to justify contracts for some reason. Like, we pay you the most money, you gotta play the most minutes.
But you don't have to do that this early into the regular season.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of...
It's not March. No, it's not April. You don't have to force him in like that. Look, I get it. Long term, you're gonna need him to be at a certain level if you want to compete in the playoffs. But we're still in November, Sean. Like, why?
You don't need Hayward right now. Like I said last episode, I feel like I'm repeating the same shit. Like, granted, you went out and won against the Raptors, which was, borderline must-win type game for early in the season. Like, big game early in the season. You came to play. You beat the Raptors at home. You still look like dog shit in every other game since what? The Indiana game? You've looked like dog shit. Not even the Suns game. You look like dog shit. You lost twice to the Jazz. You lost to the Nuggets.
See, I'm glad you brought up the Raptors game, though, because if you look at his production, his pure offensive production, most of what he did on the offense came with the second unit. I know when you look at the stat line and you see 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, you're like, oh yeah, this guy was feeling it. No, he scored 6 consecutive free throws throughout the fourth quarter and overtime, which obviously was big. It was huge for the Celtics in that close game, but you overlook the fact that when he's at his best, throughout the month of November, it's when he's with the second unit guys, when he's with the Marcus Smarts and the Terry Roziers, when he's able to find those guys, able to rack up assists, able to score, able to find that offensive rhythm that he just doesn't have when he's with the rest of the starting unit. But you gotta give props to Brad Stevens for this though, for benching him. Not crazy about him playing 31 minutes, but at least he brought him off the bench.
Man. I think he had more minutes than he did as a starter.
Yeah, I mean, Baines only got 7 minutes as a starter, so I guess you got a good point there.
I don't know. I feel the Hayward thing is a conundrum right now that I don't know. I feel like no one is struggling with the Hayward situation except Brad Stevens. Like, he's the only one that doesn't see that. Just put him on the bench. Let him sit out a game.
Yeah, but at least this is a step in the right direction, though. I mean, we're not going to see him put him back in the starting lineup at this point, right? I mean, he's already made that switch.
I don't know.
You think he will?
Who knows? Why not? He played 31 minutes. I don't know. I just feel like right now the Celtics are going on. They have 3 easy W's lined up. And it should be 4, including this Hornets game that they blew. Right now, the Celtics, not gonna lie, man, they just fucking suck.
All right. Well, Sean will get into, looking ahead in a little bit, but one thing I want to get into is, what these type of decisions from Brad Stevens is going to do for the second unit and other guys on this roster. I mean, when you're a guy like Terry Rozier, right? And listen, I get it. Terry Rozier isn't playing up to par. He's not looking like the same guy that we saw throughout the postseason or the months that led to it. But there's going to come a point, right? And Sean, we talked about this at the beginning of the season. There's going to come a point where Terry Rozier is going to go off. He's going to find his offense. He's going to be consistent. He's going to be scoring 16, 17 a game for, I don't know, a 3, 4, 5 game stretch. And he's going to think to himself, no matter what I do, I'm never going to crack this starting unit because Brad Stevens is always going to protect his boy. Brad Stevens is always going to put his boy in the starting lineup. And even if he's not starting, Brad Stevens is going to make sure that his boy is playing at the end of the games. I mean, that's just natural for any team to think that way. When you look at the history between Brad Stevens and Gordon Hayward, you said it at the top of the episode. Brad Stevens was the only recruiter, one of the few recruiters, I should say, that believed in Hayward, was watching this guy as a sophomore in high school, recruited him, brought him obviously all the way to the NCAA championship, led a team that had no business getting that far, reunited with him in Boston. It was a sweet story, everything was going according to plan. And what happened last year derailed things a bit. Now that he's healthy again, I just feel like Brad Stevens is going out of his way to thrust him into this lineup. Even if he's not starting, he's making sure that he's at the end of the games. He's making sure that he's getting a fair shot. And maybe 16 games into the regular season, he should slow him down a bit.
Yeah, and I think that Brad Stevens has always had he tries to let his guys play out of the funk. You know what I mean? He's not a guy to just rip out minutes from one of his main guys. But the difference here is that those players usually have earned a spot in his lineup. You look at look 2 years ago. There was a stretch where Crowder was, I don't know, there was a lot of people who said Crowder needs to go to the bench.
He needs to be the sixth man. I remember this. Yeah.
That was big.
Yeah.
But Brad Stevens stayed with him, and guess what? He got out of his funk, right? But the difference is that Crowder worked his way into that lineup. He proved to everybody that I deserve to be in the lineup. Right now, if this is any other player,
it was handed to Hayward.
Any other player
that
got something handed to him in the Brad Stevens system, he would be on the bench. No questions asked. This is a Brad Stevens buddy Hayward situation that we're dealing with right now. And if we're noticing it, you better believe the team's noticing
Absolutely.
it. And the team, and especially, I'm glad you brought up Rozier, because Rozier is definitely noticing it. And every other player that Semi Ojeleye, who's busted his ass to earn minutes, everybody on the team who obviously want Hayward, because Hayward's when healthy is a great NBA player and he's going to help you get to the finals. But right now, this is sort of starting to take on a life of its own and could be potentially some type of dividing force in the locker room.
Down the road, it could.
I could be if this continues.
If things stay the same for the next 2-3 weeks.
And you don't start winning.
If
you don't start winning,
right,
shit's gonna start happening.
If Kyrie Irving isn't bailing you out, which you can't rely on night in and night out. You saw what happened against him and, Kemba Walker. You just can't rely on that formula night in and night out. And the Celtics know that. They know better than that. But when you have someone like Gordon Hayward in the mix, when you're coming out of a timeout and you need a bucket and you're down by 3 and there's a minute some change left and Brad Stevens designs a play for Gordon Hayward. What does that say to the rest of his team? What does that say to everyone that's been busting their ass? What does that say to Jason Tatum, who has been kind of in a funk, right? Leading into this, he did have a good game against the Raptors, fell back a bit Saturday night, responds with 18 points, 8 of 15 from the floor, and you can't design a play for Jason Tatum? If you're going to design a play for somebody not named Kyrie Irving, shouldn't that be Jason Tatum? Exactly.
As bad as everything is for the Celtics right now, here's my new saying, which is going to make everyone feel better. At least we're not the Washington Wizards right now, bro.
That's true.
As bad as it is.
Things could be worse.
And it may seem like the Celtics are are borderline a mess. At least you're not the goddamn Washington Wizards. That team is a joke. It should make you, a Celtics fan, feel a lot better about your team.
Well, following Monday's loss, the Celtics are now out of the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. I know it's November. Relax.
Still doesn't matter. It's almost Thanksgiving.
I get it. Before everyone goes off on me talking about why you guys talk about the standings, but it does matter in the sense that the Celtics do have a relatively light schedule ahead of them, so they have plenty of time to catch up here. They do go back home, and Sean, with that being said, let's look ahead and talk about who the Celtics are going to be facing.
By the way, this is the same people this is the same team that you're going to say is a light schedule, but they needed overtime to beat the fucking Suns.
They also lost against the Orlando Magic too. Yeah. Well, actually, we can't even talk shit about the Magic anymore right now because they've
you can talk shit about the Magic.
They've been beating some teams, man. They've been beating some teams.
That
don't sleep on Magic.
I've slept on the Magic. The only time I'm going to care about the Magic is when Terry Rozier goes there and fulfills my prophecy.
You've been saying that for years. Hey, man, they beat those feisty Wizards. The Magic are legit.
Yeah, those feisty Wizards. They are feisty.
They did beat Philly though. Give him props for
They
that.
did beat up each other. All right. So 3 shitty teams on the Celtics schedule. These should all be wins.
Yeah,
If,
see, watch what you say.
if they're not wins, if they're not wins, if they don't win all 3 of these games,
It's a big if. What's going to happen?
you slam that panic button. If you lose all 3 of these games, that's gonna mean that you from your big win against the Bucks, you've won 3 out of 9. That sucks.
That's ugly.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I agree.
Then if you can't beat the Knicks in Boston, if you can't beat the Knicks in Boston, then you can't beat the Hawks and Mavericks. These are the layups. These are the layups that Jaylen Brown would try to dunk and miss the dunk. That's what these are. These should be W's. No questions asked.
This is the part of the schedule that I said when the Celtics come back from that road trip, this is where they'll catch up. I included the Charlotte Hornets as part of that.
No,
stretch,
I did too. Yeah.
But I guess we can throw that out the window at this point.
Well, that's it. I mean, so I get saying that, hey, Kemba's hot right now. But I'm sorry, he put up 60 the other night and they lost. So he only put up 43 tonight and you couldn't beat the Hornets.
All right, Sean, before you look ahead, I want to
I already did.
I want to get your reaction
That's
here.
it.
No, you didn't say.
I'm angry.
You didn't say the teams though. I want to get your reaction to this because I thought this was very interesting quote from Brad Stevens here. Abby Chin asked him after the game the level of frustration with your team's consistency, and this is what Brad Stevens had to say. This wasn't an inconsistent night. This was a special performance that beat us. Sometimes you have to take your hat off to them. That's a good team. That's a well-coached team. They played really hard, and he, which is referring to Kemba Walker, of course, is on a great run. I try to look at things objectively. Saturday night was disappointing in a number of ways. Tonight, we saw more of what we want to be. Celtics did shoot 50.6% from the floor, which is an encouraging sign. But when that happens in a loss,
none of that matters.
it doesn't matter. Exactly.
Like, what is going on,
If anything,
man?
it goes to show that I want to see some mixing up at the end of the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't want to see Kyrie Irving chucking up 4 out of the last 5 shots at the end of the game. I just don't want to see that. When the offense is shooting this well, when the offense is this efficient, you have other options.
Yeah, like I don't know why Al Horford seemed to have a really good game and Marcus Morris was pretty much non-existent in the late minutes. I mean, Tatum had 1-3, but yeah, man, you gotta open it up. And you know what? Brad Stevens needs to be harder on his guys. I think that needs to start happening now. Like that.
I liked what he did Saturday, but that was the only time he was really hard on them.
I'm just saying, if it's inconsistent, you can't let one player decide if you're going to win or lose that night. And I don't know, maybe you look at Marcus Smart and his performance on Kemba, and yeah, he was playing very well on him. But what does he need to do differently? How do you need to scheme it up against a guy where you can't give him an inch or he's going to jack it up? Guess what? There's plenty of players like that in the NBA. If you can't guard one of them, then what are you going to do?
Kemba Walker did finish with 43 points. 14 of 25 from the floor. So that makes 103 points in the last 2 games for Kemba Walker.
All right, look ahead. Knicks win. Hawks.
Oh, you
win.
You sure about that? The Knicks? They almost got a win in Madison Square Garden.
Nah, man, I have no faith in the Celtics team right now, man. I mean,
oh, this is it. This is going to be the time when you actually give them a loss.
I have no faith in this Celtics team. But at the same time, those 3 teams suck. Celtics should go 3-0 here.
What's the third one? Did you say the third one?
It's Knicks, Hawks, Mavericks.
I don't know about that third one. They just beat the Warriors. They're on a 4-game winning streak. So we'll see. That's the one game that sticks out to me.
They lost to the Grizzlies
tonight.
Which, by the way, the Grizzlies, who would have seen that coming? The Grizz having a good season.
Are you surprised how your boy's been playing? Luka?
No, I haven't been surprised, man. He's been playing very well.
I knew he'd be good, but I didn't think he'd be this good.
I knew he'd be really good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it too early to say he's rookie of the year?
Something to be said about like stocky Europeans. You know what I mean? Like he's like a built dude. Like and he can run the point. Like normally you get a European to come over and he's this lanky, weird looking
shooter,
fragile dude,
straight shooter. Yeah.
This dude's just like, no, he's built. He looks like an athlete. Yeah, I think he's going to be really good. By the way, what the hell's going on in the Western Conference? Have you looked at the standings in the Western Conference recently?
It's a little messy.
The Blazers and Clippers are tied for the number 1 spot. followed by the Grizzlies and Warriors.
Yeah, man, Clippers have been balling.
Yeah, I said they were going to be
Warriors
the
have been
worst
losing.
team in the league this year. I was wrong. All right, that's all I got for looking ahead because I'm pissed off. These Celtics, man, they just really know how to get you in a criminy mood before Thanksgiving. Here I am, just trying to think of what pumpkin dessert I'm going to fucking make, and now fucking you got to watch fucking the Celtics lose to the Charlotte Hornets, man. By the way, you know what I want to do?
I'm going
Trade-
2-1, by the way. Real quick. I'm going 2-1, man. Look, the Mavericks, they smoked the Jazz by 50. They beat the Warriors a couple nights ago. They did fall to the Grizzlies, but I think they're going to lose that one.
All right. Here's my solution to fix everything. Trade Hayward and Rozier for Kemba Walker.
I think they would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Who?
No, they wouldn't. The Hornets would never do that deal. It's a terrible trade.
They're going to lose Kemba anyways.
Still.
You get Hayward locked up into the deal, you get a player. Charlotte loves white people.
The fourth highest paid player in the NBA.
Yeah.
You're just going to give him all that money?
Yeah.
And hope that he reverts to the guy he used to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
No, I think so. Yeah.
That's Brad Stevens' boy, so it's not happening.
You get, that's the move. You get Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward for Kemba Walker.
Yo, that's my new narrative. Brad Stevens' boy. No, that's his boy. Come on.
That's his boy?
That's his son.
Fine.
That's his son.
It is his boy. He's going to ride or die with Hayward.
Yeah, to the end.
It is what it is. Maybe I'm not going to say that.
What are you going to say?
No, I'm not going to say it.
Next time he goes off, I'll be like, oh, that's little Brad out there. That's Brad's son.
Little Brad Jr.
Brad Jr. going off again. What were you going to say before? You don't remember, do you?
What?
You were going to say something before I talked about how good the Mavericks have been playing.
No, that's all I was going to say.
All right. All right, well, we'll see how Brad Stevens' boy does against the Knicks.
I think it'll be interesting. How many, let's put a little wager here. Next 3 games, Knicks,
Hawks and Mavericks.
Hawks, Mavs.
You just said it.
Does Gordon Hayward start all 3 games?
No.
Does Gordon Hayward play 25 minutes in all 3 games?
Yes. More than that.
That's going to be
45 plus.
And does he ever score 20 points in any of those games?
No.
Okay. That's a problem.
No. 15 tops, I'm going to say. One of those games, he'll score about 15 or 16. And if he doesn't clock in over 25 minutes, it's because it was garbage time in the fourth quarter. I'm thinking the Hawks game that's going to happen. It'll be a blowout.
All I'm saying is if we come back and the Celtics go 1-2 on this 3-game little streak against shitty teams, 1-2 or worse, man.
We're going to see a dark side of Dutra?
Yeah, I'm sort of playing
Dark Dutra?
I'm sort of playing it cool right now, like, you know, it's holiday season.
This is you playing
good.
it cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm feeling good. I'm not really getting that angry yet.
This is you playing it cool. All
But
right.
I'm just saying, like, I'm right at the breaking point, guys.
This is calm Sean right here.
I'm at the breaking point. All right?
Just imagine if it was March right now. Oh, man.
Be losing my shit.
If this team was if this team was pretty much a 500 team in March.
If this team was
Look
32 and 30 right now, just like everyone's still like, just wait for him to start clicking. It's gonna happen. There's too much talent on this
It's
team,
not even
guys.
April, guys. Relax.
Just wait. They're waiting for the play. All they need again is that 8th seed, guys. It'll be all right. Maybe Kawhi won't play still. You never know.
They're just saving it, bro. They're
saving it. Listen, the more rest you get the team, the better.
Yo, home court is overrated in the NBA, guys. Come on. I mean, doesn't even matter.
You're battling the Wizards for the 8th spot. It'll be okay. Nah, man, that's where we're heading. We're heading to mediocrity. It's a mediocrity police. Ridiculous.
But this is the stretch. This is the stretch. They'll get some wins, man.
They fucking better.
Sky's not falling. Sky's not falling.
Yeah,
Not
it
yet.
is.
Not yet.
It's like, maybe it's not falling, but
Looks grim.
yeah,
Looks grim right now.
yeah. Preparing for an emergency landing. Like the masks have dropped in this Celtics plane crash scenario. Like you don't quite know if you're just hitting bad turbulence.
You think the massive dropped? I think it's just turbulence. Right?
No, I think
There's turbulence. That's
I think the turbulence has happened. The turbulence has been happening all year.
This is an interesting metaphor too, because you're not a big fan
I
of
would
that.
freak the fuck
of that
out.
setting. Yeah,
Right.
you would. That's like your biggest nightmare, isn't it?
Like, yeah.
Aside from standing on the edge of a cliff, I think that's your biggest.
No, I would
your
say
biggest fear.
I would say the mask dropping on a plane would be my biggest fear. I would freak the fuck out.
Engine failure?
Like if all of a sudden like,
Engine failure.
yeah, no, that's the worst. That's the fucking worst.
Master.
You're just stuck in this hunk of metal, this pressurized hunk of metal, just like going like way too fast in just free air. Like nothing is holding you back from just spiraling, just fucking bing, and then the whole fucking thing is, you're just in a tube in the middle of the air, like just gonna be free falling down to your death. That is the worst. That's the worst. You can't do shit about it. You can't even be, you could be the most creative person in the world. You're fucked. You can't get out of that situation. Like you can't like figure out a way to like open up a door and like hop. No, you're fucked. You're just dead. You're gonna know you're dead for at least 4 to 5 minutes as that plane tumbles down.
Wait for your demise.
Yes. Like, and you're like, wow, and you won't, I have a feeling that like if that was happening, you wouldn't realize until like 2 to 3 minutes into that inevitability that this has actually happened. And then you're like, oh man, like what am I going to do now? I just wasted the last 3 minutes trying to talk myself out of it. I should have been acting what I want to do for the last 5 minutes of my life.
Do you remember that Facebook video, that prank when they do a fake simulation and like everyone's freaking out, but it's just all like the plane hasn't even moved yet?
No, I would never.
No, remember I tagged you on that and you got so mad. You were like, yo, that's the most fucked up prank I've ever seen in my life.
Nah, that's the worst. So getting back to the Celtics metaphor though. Get on a little tangent there. Jesus. Didn't know I was that worried about that shit.
Sean's got the chills right now.
Yeah, Jesus. Fuck.
You just went to a dark place right now.
Yeah, you brought me right there, man. You brought me there.
You saw the whole thing?
I saw it, felt it, have regrets, and I'm not even dying. I'm not even crashing. I feel like I should have spent my last 5 minutes better. You think you get cell reception? You think you get cell reception as your plane is tumbling?
Yeah, once you get low enough.
Fast.
Once you get low enough.
So you have like a window of like 30 seconds.
Yeah, definitely less than a minute.
Yeah. You gotta fucking time that shit right. Who you calling?
I think it's the last thing I'm thinking about.
Who you calling?
I don't know, man. I don't think I'd call anyone.
Yeah.
I think I'd just send like a mass text like, I love you guys.
Could select all. Everybody in your phone. Just get it to everybody so don't miss nobody. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Everyone's be like, oh, you get that text from Causeway? Nah, man. He didn't text you? Nah, bro.
Nah. Or you know what happened?
I switched phones and that one guy didn't make it on the new phone. He's like, so for the rest of his life, he thinks I never liked him. Why didn't I get a text?
Well, I mean,
at that point, 100 people got a text.
Yeah.
And I was the one guy who didn't get a text.
Well, you should invite him to your funeral. That's what it should be like. Services will be held on Tuesday.
So is it turbulence? Back to the Celtics metaphor. Right. Is it turbulence or is it the mass drop?
The plane took off and it wasn't, you didn't get a good vibe when the plane took off. You're like, man, this doesn't feel as powerful as it normally does. Made it in the air, maybe you saw, right around, when they lost to the Magic. The flight attendants started talking to each other, like whispering. Like a little frantic, it looked a little frantic. You know what they were trying to play it cool.
Give everyone the fake smile.
Yeah, like, just seatbelts on. Then turbulence started. Nah, man, I think the Hornets lost. The Hornets lost. Maybe the bags haven't dropped yet, but you now heard the bing. This is your captain speaking. We're getting warned right now. We're getting warned that this may be a little bit more. We'll get some wind coming into the east, and turbulence is going to be pretty rough right now. Not going to lie.
Sit tight. Not
going to lie. If I were you, I would keep my seat buckle on.
Don't go to the bathroom.
If you drink. Jesus Christ, Frank. You got this thing under control or what? Jesus.
Frank's like, we're fucked.
Frank, get your shit together. Okay, I'll be... Everyone stay calm. Jesus Christ, Frank! That's where we are.
So you have to do this right now, Frank. Hold on for a second, all right?
Frank, there's 400 people on this plane that you're freaking out right now. The worst co-pilot in the world. If I had to die next to anybody in the plane, it wouldn't be you.
You are the worst. Who recommended you, Frank?
No, nobody. That's what it is. So, yep, that's where we are right now in the Celtics season, in this, Celtics plane crash. One can only hope that
the masks don't come down.
Maybe there's like a Liam Neeson on this plane. Like, or like.
That's the one dude who could come up with a plan.
Exactly.
To save the entire cabin.
Exactly. Now, the plane's not crashing yet. But the turbulence and the attitude on this plane between the crew and passengers are pretty bad right now.
All right, we'll see where they are a week removed from this loss against the Charlotte Hornets.
Tune in next week.
We'll see where this plane is at next week. Sean, any plans for Thanksgiving before we get out of here?
Nah, but fucking subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Guys. What the fuck?
Yes. Rate us, subscribe. It'll really, really help us out. We appreciate it.
And next week, but gonna eat some turkey this week. Happy Turkey Day to all you gobbling goobers out there. Turkey gobbler.
I fucking love Thanksgiving, man.
Me too.
You ever get that one person who's like, I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving food.
Yeah.
And you just look at them like, what? The fuck is wrong with you?
Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just don't keep that to yourself. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Obviously, we appreciate the support, all of our listeners. But yeah, what Sean said, please, it goes a long way. Subscribe, rate us on iTunes. That'll help us out a lot. And happy Thanksgiving. All right, everybody have a great Thanksgiving break. Be safe out there. I know how things can get a little wild the night before Thanksgiving.
Ho-ho!
And we'll keep you
party time.
We'll keep you updated with everything, of course, with Celtics content at causewaystreet.com. And we'll see you guys next week.
Later.